I'm here with Louis Rothkopf from MediaMath at Adweek, and one of the largest topics of conversation at Adweek in general, and also in ad tech, is trust, quality, and transparency. And along those lines, Louis, you had just yesterday a big announcement. Can you share with us what the announcement was, why it matters, and your point of view?
Absolutely. So, Jason, thank you for having me, and thank you for your interest and the company's interest in this topic. It's interesting, what we announced today around our open letter to SSPs about the way that we do business is not actually anything new, right? We've had policies around how our supply partners interact with us and our customers really since the beginning of the business. What's new is the very sort of serious and affirmative step we've taken to share with the whole industry the sorts of things that we are not going to allow on our platform and the very serious consequences for those suppliers who do not abide by our principles and values, right? If you think about what we're all here to do, we are here to help marketers achieve better business outcomes through the application of technology and science and media and art. And we believe that a thriving, competitive ecosystem of supply-side platforms is an incredibly good way to make that happen. Unfortunately, there have been those who have implemented manipulations of the auction or in some other way have changed the supply chain in such a way as to unduly advantage themselves vis-a-vis their competitors without at the same time focusing on how they can improve marketer outcomes. And so while we have always had these restrictions and always had these policies, the letter we sent out today makes it clear that violations of any of these principles will result in that SSP's separation from MediaMath's open auction.
Basically, it sounds like you're laying down the rules of the road, right? So as you think through that, a bunch of questions come to mind. So how do you verify? How do you enforce? How do you think about that?
It's something that is super challenging, right? In the case of something like fraud or brand safety violations, there are entire companies whose businesses it is to verify where you are running and that you're buying the media that you think you're buying and that you're serving to actual people. In the case of manipulation of the auction, unfortunately, it is not always so straightforward. And so our supply team has all been cross-trained on identifying the sorts of things that would indicate that an SSP might be manipulating the auction in such a way that is not permitted. When we see that, we will immediately reach out to the SSP. We'll look to understand why we've seen these data, and we'll have a conversation about what that means. We also invite the other SSPs and all the SSPs in our community to tell us when they see something that might be off.
Community
right?
Self-regulation, basically.
Exactly. If you see something, say something, right? If you become aware in the course of your business of some counterparty who is not abiding by our rules and principles, would ask that you let us know. We'll conduct our own investigation. And part of the reason we sent out this letter is to make it, on the one hand, explicitly clear what is not allowed, and on the other hand, to give everybody an opportunity to come to us now and say, we operate a clean shop. Here is a thing that we used to do, we don't do it anymore, let's talk about what it means, let's talk about why we did it, and let there be no secrets between our companies with respect to how you trade with us on behalf of our customers.
Yeah. Tell me, is this a 3 strikes you're out, 1 strike you're out? Like, what's the level of sort of elasticity in the policy?
It's going to be case by case. Violations of the principles will result in separation from our open auction. We are open to a discussion about letting that company back in, assuming we understand why they did what they did and have taken corrective action to ensure that it will never happen again. There are no third chances, right? We give them an opportunity to come back. If they violate again after that opportunity, there is no third opportunity.
I would think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that there's a different treatment for oops, we had a technology failure and let some fraud through versus willful, systemic defrauding of advertisers.
Correct, that's exactly right. And we're not looking to take a draconian approach to sort of, run-of-the-mill, day-to-day, good faith technical errors or even technical errors that may look at first glance like manipulation of the auction.
Yeah.
What we're looking for here are those SSPs who are explicitly and affirmatively trying to defraud us or are trying to manipulate the auction on our platform such that our customer becomes disadvantaged.
What's the initial reaction been? I know it's early, right? Very early today, maybe one day. So what's it been so far?
Overwhelmingly positive. And we sent the note out and we kept me on the two lines so I would see the responses that came in, and the responses from SSPs have been congratulatory and positive. The overwhelming majority of SSPs in the community are good actors, act above board, and are, such as OpenX, and are partners of ours to help our marketers execute better and have better outcomes. And so they are highly motivated to see us take action against the small subset of SSPs who would defraud us or our customers or otherwise manipulate our auction.
Sometimes in ad tech land, we lose perspective of where the money comes from and why it's important to serve the investor of those dollars. So can you talk a little bit about that and what the reaction's been from those, the source of those dollars?
It's a great point, Jason, and I'm glad that you mentioned it. It's important to remember that the dollars that we're talking about here, the pounds, the euro, these are our marketers' dollars. These are our customers' dollars that they are investing, and they have a absolute right to ensure that they are able to understand where and how their money is being spent. SSPs very often will come to us and say, you have to do an integration with us. We have to work together. And it's worth reminding that nobody has a inalienable right to our marketers' spend, right? We are stewards of our marketers' money. They trust us to execute across high quality, brand safe media, performant media, and they have a right to know that the people that they are trading with are trustworthy.
One of the things that I've observed in talking to some of these marketers is because they've got a huge purview from TV to radio to out of home, whatever, and digital. It's hard for them to understand the nuances of bid caching, of first price auctions, of all these things. How do you make it simple for them, but also protect them from those things while also educating them? Because there's conflicting sort of needs there.
We are tired of apologizing, right? We are sick of getting the apology from the offending supply source and then passing that apology on in a pretty feckless way to our customer. It's exactly why we were taking this strong stance. It's why we sent out the letter, and it's why we made the letter public, because we want marketers to be asking these questions. A smart, informed marketer and agency who asks the right things, who wants to understand is their media working for them, is the best possible kind of customer that we can have. We consider it our obligation to be the last line of defense in keeping our customers safe from the effects of fraud and abuse and misuse, helping customers understand what they should be looking out for, and the ways in which we look out for them will result in a overall more enlightened community. And more folks asking the right questions at the right times.
What do you think will be the net impact of this rolling it forward? Because I think we all want to get to the same place where brand advertisers, agencies, they just push, they can spend money and not think about it. Like getting on an airplane, you don't think about all the systems that make that safe. How do you think we get from here to there?
I think today, I really do believe, today is the first day of the rest of our industry. One thing that you didn't see is after sending the open letter, we also forwarded around to all of our employees. And we talked about what the context of this is and why it's so important. And we asked our employee base to forward the letter and our cover letter to their customers. And share with them, here's what we're doing, right? To the marketer community, to the agency community, and share with them, here is how seriously we're taking this problem, even if it means having to incur, occasional near-term inconvenience of separating a important supply source from our open auction. We're still going to do it. Perhaps it's idealistic, but we do believe that doing the right thing still matters, and it's still a worthwhile endeavor.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. Again, here with Louis from MediaMath at Adweek. Thank you very much for your perspective.
Thank you, Jason.